What's up guys, Midnight Hatter here, and today we're talking about the Mobile Suit Gundam Tabletop RPG. This has been a highly requested video on both YouTube and Discord, and it's probably something of an oversight on my part. I should have made this video a long time ago, but here we are. You've read the title, you've seen the thumbnail. Today we are making a character in Gundam 5e. Let's hop right into it, and I will walk you through every step of the process. Alright, let's get right into it. We've got our character creation tab open on Gundam5e.com and our dice roller app so that we can roll our stats. Also available on Gundam5e.com is a link to the form-fillable PDF character sheet. This character sheet has a lot of scripts that run in the background that will auto-calculate a lot of your stats for you so you don't have to do a whole bunch of math in your head. Alright, back to the character creation tab. We've got a list of character classes to choose from. We have a list of 6 ability scores and what each of them represent. We have a list of feats to choose from, as well as a list of new type powers if you choose a new type class. We have some optional backgrounds that you can select, and there's a placeholder for optional rules, but we haven't gotten into that just yet. So first we're going to select our pilot class. We have 5 to choose from: Guerrilla, Infiltrator, Artillery, Cyber new type, and True new type. For the purposes of this example, I'm going to select the Infiltrator. So let's hop into our character sheet and input some character details. Our character's name is going to be Hanso Kitsune. Class, Infiltrator. For this character, we are going to be a Federation pilot, starting at level 1. We're going to be 5 foot 11 inches tall, 185 pounds, with brown eyes and black hair. And will be 19 years old, which is fitting for a 1-year war pilot. At level 1, our proficiency bonus is going to be 2, as indicated on the class table. And the walking speed of all characters is 10 decameters per round. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, we can generate our ability scores. Now there are several ways to do this, and they are identical to Dungeons & Dragons 5e. You can use the point buy system, where you start with 72 points and you can assign them to your 6 ability scores as you see fit. You have the standard array, which is 6 numbers that you can input into each of your ability scores. That standard array is 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. Or you have my personal favorite, which is to roll your ability scores at random. Now, even when rolling your ability scores, there are several different options to consider, but the basic premise is that you roll 4d6 and subtract the lowest value. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So our first result is a 12, but the lowest number that we rolled is that 1. So we're going to subtract that 1 from the total, and that will be the number that we've got. So our first score is an 11. Now it's a pretty low score, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in something that probably isn't going to be very helpful to us. For an Infiltrator, that's going to be our Psyche. Let's roll again. So this time we rolled an 11, but our lowest number is a 1, so we're going to subtract that, giving us 10, which is also a low score. Let's go ahead and put that in our mentality modifier. So this time we rolled an 11, but our lowest number is a 1, so we're going to subtract that, giving us a 10, and we're going to go ahead and put that in our engineering score. Alright, we've got a 13, but again, our lowest number is a 1, so let's subtract that, giving us a 12, and let's pop that in our mentality score. We rolled another 13, subtract the 1, gives us a 12. Let's put that in our will. Finally, a decent roll. So we rolled a 17, but we have to subtract the 2 from that value, giving us a 15. Let's put that in our cunning. And finally, we have a 16, but we're going to subtract the 2, and that gives us a 14. Let's put that in our reaction score. Now, as you might have noticed, after I put in the ability scores, the ability modifiers are automatically populated and the skill bonuses are filled in. Now, if we return to our class sheet, we have some skill proficiencies to choose from. We get to choose 4 skill proficiencies from acrobatics, colony knowledge, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, salvage, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. So hopping back into our character sheet, since we are going to be an infiltrator, it's probably very necessary that we have stealth as a proficient skill. We're also going to select sleight of hand, perception, and insight. Now, as you can see, once I check those boxes, my proficiency bonus is added to those skill scores. Alright, now I think it's time to choose a mobile suit. There are several different ways to do this. Each class has their own starting equipment that you can choose from, or you can work with your GM. Personally, I like to let my players have a starting amount of money and invest that into whatever mobile suit and equipment they want to use and see how that plays out. Alright, since I'm playing as a Federation pilot, I will select a mobile suit from the Federation 1-Year War mobile suits. I think I'm going to go with the Powered GM. And here are the stats for that mobile suit. Let's go ahead and drop those into our character sheet. So the Powered GM has a base evasion rate of 8 and a base armor point total of 8. Now, as you can see, my evasion rate has been automatically calculated to include my reactions modifier, but because I'm proficient in mass production mobile suits, we can also add our proficiency bonus to the evasion rate. Similarly, we would add our engineering modifier to our armor point total, but since our engineering modifier is 0, it's going to be a 0. Now we can fill in our mobile suit speeds, which are 50 decameters on land, 0 airborne, 30 underwater, and 50 0G. Now what's a mobile suit without some weapons? Let's select our loadout for this mobile suit. For this particular mobile suit, I'm going to give it a pair of beam daggers, the loadout cost of which is going to be 1, so we're going to subtract 1 from our total loadout of 12. You can keep track of this on page 3 of the character sheet. And on page 1, we will input beam daggers. The range is melee. The attack bonus is going to be our reactions modifier, since it is a finesse weapon. And the damage is going to be 1d4 plus our will modifier. Now let's select a ranged weapon. I'm going to go with the 90mm machine gun. That costs 2 loadout, so let's go ahead and mark that on our character sheet. And then we'll fill in the details on page 1. It has a range of 150 and a max range of 450. It is a +2 to hit because it uses my reactions modifier. And the damage dealt is 1d4 plus reactions. Finally, it's time to write our character's backstory. Now, this is something that you can do manually and work out with your game master what types of characteristics that will confer on your character, or you can take a look at this list of ready-made backgrounds to use as inspiration or roll an entirely random backstory from the tables below. For this example, I'm going to use the officer background. Now that comes with a couple of additional skill proficiencies, but we're already proficient in those skills, so we're just going to move on to the suggested characteristics. So as you can see here, we have a table with various personality traits to choose from. We're going to go ahead and roll them at random. So let's roll 1d8, and I got a 3. Which means I am always polite and respectful. Let's go ahead and add that to our character sheet. And now we will scroll down and take a look at our character ideals. We have to roll 1d6 to get a random ideal. I got a 5, which is honor. I don't hurt anyone that I don't have to. Let's go ahead and add that to page 3 of the character sheet. And now it's time to select a bond. So we're going to roll another d6. We got a 2. Someone saved my life on the battlefield. To this day, I will never leave a friend behind. We'll add that as well. And finally, we have the most humanizing characteristic, a flaw. So we will roll a d6 for our character flaw. A 3. I too often hear veiled insults and threats in every word addressed to me, and I'm quick to anger. Not bad. Let's go ahead and add that to our character sheet. And that is everything you need for a basic level 1 character. But what about leveling up? Well, first we're going to go up here and change our player level to 2. And then to calculate our total armor points, we are going to multiply the base armor of the mobile suit times our player level. So we're going to change this 8 to a 16. And then you would also multiply your engineering modifier times your player level, but since our engineering modifier is 0, 0 times 2 is 0, and you can see that our total armor points have already been updated. Let's go ahead and add our current armor points as well. So 16. And that's that. So that's an example of rolling a character that is a martial class, but what about one of the new type classes? Let's go ahead and change from Infiltrator to Cyber new type. These are the spellcasting classes of the Gundam 5e system. So back over here on the class page, we're going to select Cyber new type, where we've got our class table, and we're going to have different skill proficiencies, so let's look at what we've got available. It looks like we have to choose 2 from new type intuition, history, insight, investigation, colony knowledge, persuasion, deception, and stealth. Since most of those we already have over here, I'm just going to go ahead and remove 2 of our proficiencies from the existing character sheet. Now it's time to fill in our selected new type powers. This is on page 2 of the character sheet. So over on the new type powers page, there's a handy chart that shows you how many new type powers you know per new type level. So starting at level 2, we are going to have 2 feints, 4 level 1 powers, and 2 level 2 powers to choose from. Close that up. Now down below we have a list that we can use to sort and select our new type powers. For my 2 feints, I'm going to select Minovsky Particle Lights and Quasi Seikamu Attack. So let's go ahead and add those to the character sheet. Now let's go back to the new type powers page. Now to select my level 1 powers. New type Pressure, Minovsky Disruption, and new type Aura. Now to add those to our character sheet. And finally, I get to select 2 level 2 powers. So we're going to move to the next page of the list, and we're going to use New Type Resolve and Psycho Disable. So let's go ahead and add those to the character sheet. Now back on the class table, you see that we have 6 max new type points at level 2. Back on the new type powers page, if you scroll to the top, there is a chart that shows you how much each new type power costs to use. And all of your new type power points recover after a long rest. And remember, at the top of your new type powers page, you have your saving throw DC and your attack modifier for your new type powers. And that's it for a cyber new type. Let me know on Discord or in the comments below if you have any questions. So that's it. That's all it takes to create a Gundam 5e character. Hopefully this video has cleared up some of the confusion around the process. If you're still enjoying Gundam RPG content, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you later.